even though the risk is low there, but some people say, I really want to wait and collect more data on what happens. And the clinical trials were a lot of people. Like, it was a lot of people, and now they have vaccinated over 70 million doses that they've given out. So I just feel like every day that passes, and I have this issue too with a lot of my patients. A lot of my patients say, I just want to wait. I just want to keep waiting. I just want to see what unfolds. And I think that that's a risky choice to make, because we have had a year of this pandemic already. We've seen what COVID has, cost on people. We have lost 500,000 lives already to this virus. And people, on Clubhouse, there's people that talk about them having the COVID infection. And they're young. They're like my age, early 30s. And they say that they're having a difficult time concentrating. They're having a difficult time speaking. And they're just feeling really fatigued. And so no one's really, like, we're not giving enough attention to, like, the COVID-19 chronic long-term effects. And so that's something to really talk about, because waiting just puts you at risk of getting the actual infection. And this infection has a lot of, morbidity, and it has long-term effects. And we don't know, like, there's a lot of viruses who throughout history, years later, we find out that they increase your chances of getting cervical cancer or liver cancer, or bladder cancer. And so there's a lot of viruses that are linked to certain types of cancers. And so we don't want to take the risk of later on finding out about that, or even, finding out that this COVID-19 virus triggered autoimmune diseases later on in the years. And that's what a lot of rheumatologists, were talking about. We really have no evidence to really pinpoint to this, other than seeing how the patients in the hospital, how sick they got, how their immune system went crazy. Long term, we don't have anything to say, okay, yes, this patient will develop lupus in 2-3 years, or rheumatoid arthritis in 2-3 years. We hope that that's not the case, but we're just kind of thinking, like, what if, later on, like, this increases the amount of patients with autoimmune diseases. It's definitely a thought that not only rheumatologists, other different doctors are also having.
Okay, that's very informative. I don't even think I thought about that. So are there, so according to, like, I know as far as, like, choice, people should, probably go ahead and just try to receive a vaccination, but are there other people with medical conditions who should not be vaccinated? I know that you mentioned there's an alternative. What did you call it? I'm not very familiar with it. You said that there was another option that people are wanting to know about. What was it? Maybe you didn't phrase it that way. What were we saying? I don't know what you called it. But is there, I guess, all in all, is there a group of people who maybe would not benefit from the vaccination, or, like, certain people with different health conditions that it may affect differently?
Yeah. So for now, like, as far as, like, people who shouldn't get it, like, if they had a severe allergic response to the first dose, then the Moderna and Pfizer, they actually recommend not to get another dose. Or if they have a history of, like, severe allergic reactions called anaphylaxis. Usually those people carry, like, an epinephrine pen with them, so that they, inject it into their muscles. If they have a history of severe allergic reactions like that, then, they should probably consider not getting the vaccine.
Okay.
And then as far as like everybody else, 18 years and above, um, even, patients with severe autoimmune conditions are still recommended to go ahead and get it. Diabetic patients, um, there's no like egg in these products, in these vaccines. And so, um, there's really not any patient demographic, that, that that the CDC is recommending to refrain from getting the vaccine. There's some
What
people
about
who are
women who are
on,
pregnant?
yeah, so the CDC recommends for women who are pregnant to get vaccinated,
Okay.
and the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology also recommend pregnant women to get vaccinated, especially those that have like diabetes, heart
Mhm.
failure, cirrhosis, any condition really that puts them at high risk of a severe COVID-19 infection. They especially encourage those women to go ahead and get the vaccination. Um, Lactating mothers, like breastfeeding mothers, are also encouraged to get their vaccination. And so, um, they should, it's a personal decision.
Mhm.
They should discuss that with their doctor. But these main organizations, both the CDC and the ACOG, are encouraging pregnant patients to get it.
Okay. And that kind of segues me into a point that I wanted to make later on, but it makes me curious if you are, well, if, these organizations are saying that it would be wise for, mothers who are pregnant and, to go ahead and get vaccinated. What is the restraint on, because I know 18 and, well, younger than 18 is not, they're not able to be vaccinated. Am I, correct with saying that? Is that
Yes.
true? Okay. And
Hmm.
why is that? Like, is there a major difference? I know, they're pregnant, so I guess I would think in my mind maybe they shouldn't, maybe someone would think maybe they shouldn't have it if, the kids
Hmm.
can't. Is there a correlation there? I'm just maybe off track there.
No, I see what you're saying.
Mhm.
So pregnant patients were not in the study. So that's why initially, we didn't know. We were like, should they, should we give it to pregnant women? Should we not?
Mhm.
And we really don't have like, long-term data on pregnant patients. It hasn't been like, um, study that would tell us, this has been, completely safe in pregnant women. Um, the American College, ACOG, of Gynecology, they released that statement because pregnant patients have died of COVID-19 infections.
Wow.
Um, we have had, documented pregnant patients die, have to be, intubated, um,
Mm.
uh, preterm births. So there
Mhm.
has been negative associations with the virus, and so because of that, it's all about benefits versus risk, and
Okay.
that dominates everything that we do in medicine, everything that we do as doctors, everything that we are trained on. What to offer patients, what to not. If we should push for more aggressive measures, or we should push for less aggressive measures, just weighing the benefits versus the risk. And so in this situation, seeing the risk that it has had on pregnant patients, they have recommended the vaccination. And so, in regards to children,
Mhm.
the studies didn't include children because it was 18 and up. And so because we don't have any data on children,
Okay.
we're not recommending that. So Moderna and Pfizer, they started clinical trials, that, for children and then they're projecting that they will have the data published maybe in the summer, and then it'll take some weeks for the FDA to review it and decide if they're going to approve it or not. And so it
Hmm.
probably will be like August July, August until children can get their vaccinations.
Okay.
But I think so I train in internal medicine.
Mhm.
And so I was not trained in pediatrics, but my friends who did pediatrics, a lot of the medications that children get is like done by weight, whereas
Right.
for adults it's kind of like a general dose no matter how much you weigh. I mean, there are some medications that we do adjust for how much they weigh and their
Mhm.
how big the patient is.
Yeah.
Um but for
Yeah.
children they're more specific on like,
Yeah, you have to be careful with the kiddos.
yeah, exactly, because they're little, they're young,
Yeah.
and they weigh less, and so things have to be like adjusted for their bodies. And so that that explains why people are more scared if this vaccination, if the dose, do we need to decrease it, adjust it, like what are the side effects. And so it'll take some time for us to have better information on how to vaccinate
Mhm.
these children.
I was curious about that because I have a 9-year-old myself, and I am wondering, if they're wanting to send them back to school, with the little ones, they're just naturally germy and things like that. So you can't, expect them to watch that. I mean, and then the teachers have like, all of these different children that they have to monitor, it's just hard. So I guess maybe some parents may, rest in the thought of maybe them having a vaccination, for the kids. Like maybe that would, cut down on that because otherwise, we really just have to rely on everything else that we've been doing for that. So that
For
was great
sure.
that you pointed that out. I was curious about that. So if someone, moving along, if someone were maybe to have has COVID and it's not very severe, maybe they're like asymptomatic, how long could they still should they and can they still be vaccinated, and if so, how long is the recommendation that they should wait to be vaccinated?
Yeah. So initially they were thinking that only patients with severe, moderate to severe COVID-19 infection,
Mhm.
would build a strong enough immune response to make antibodies.
Mhm.
But later on they started finding evidence that even patients with mild disease could make, a good response, a good immune response, with, uh, a high amount of antibodies. And so it's really hard to know, a lot of people ask, if I already got the COVID-19 infection, should I still get vaccinated? And
Mhm.
even though it is rare within 90 days to get reinfected, there are cases of reinfection, but again, those are rare. So it points that whether it was mild or severe, just having been exposed to the virus
Mhm.
gives people an immune response. We don't know how
Of
long it'll
course.
last. We
Uh
don't know
huh.
how long it'll last. We don't know, um, a lot of things, but we are still recommending patients to get vaccinated. And the CDC has, after you got, COVID, 90 days after your infection, you should go ahead and get your vaccination. I know some doctors that will do 60 days, but the CDC is recommending 90 days to get vaccinated.
Okay. So I'm curious, like how you just touched on, and I know that, obviously if you've had something, your body has built an immune response to that. It has seen it, it's not like a jerk reaction, so to speak, anymore after like it may come back again. So with that being, like how different is that from being vaccinated? If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, I understand. So in regards to the natural infection, we don't know how long it'll protect you. And with
Mhm.
vaccination, we also don't know how long it will protect you. What
Okay.
scientists are saying is that when you get vaccinated and then a few weeks later you get vaccinated again, it's like your body gets that insult twice. Like
Double boost.
not
Yeah.
only, yeah, not only do you disrespect your body once with the vaccine, but another time. So then your body's just like goes on, their immune system just becomes